Kumusta mga brad? Panoorin natin kung papaano pinatawa at pinahanga ni President Duterte ang Russian President na si Vladimir Putin sa ginanap na open forum ng plenary session sa 16th Annual Meeting of the Valdai Discussion Club sa lugar ng Sochi City, Russia. Kung bago ka lang sa aking channel, huwag kalimutang i-click ang subscribe button at notification bell para updated ka sa mga kwento at trivia na gaya nito. Let's go! Noong October 3, 2019, si Pangulong Duterte ay dumalo sa open forum ng plenary session sa 16th Annual Meeting of the Valdai Discussion Club sa lugar ng Sochi City, Russia. Isa si Pangulong Duterte sa inimbitahan na world leader sa forum na kasama ang presidente ng bansang Azerbaijan at Kazakhstan at hari ng Kingdom of Jordan. Present din ang Russian President na si Vladimir Putin bilang leader of the host nation. Ang tema ng open forum ay tungkol sa the world order seen from the east. Ito ang kauna-unahang pagkakataon sa kasaysayan na inimbitahan ng presidente ng Pilipinas sa Valdai Discussion Club para mag-participate sa annual forum. Ngayon, panoorin natin ang ilang bahagi ng session na ito na kung saan seryosong pinakikinggan ng Pangulong Duterte, ni President Putin at ng mga world leaders at maging ang mga Russian businessman na audience na dumalo sa nasabing event. Meron din tagpo na tuwan-tuwa si President Putin at ang mga audience sa pagiging kwela ni Pangulong Duterte. At panoorin din natin ang naging sagot ng Pangulo nung tinanong siya ni President Putin kung ano masasabi niya sa nagaganap na dibisyon sa pagitan ng West at ng mga bansang nasa East.
So the government of the United States, before if I could only have 2 minutes, if I can have 2 minutes, then I'll tell you what. The rifles, we have the longest insurgency problem, communist insurgency problem, armed struggle. It has killed so many of my soldiers. And the rifles were, it has fired so many rounds, it becomes loosened. There is no more rifling. It comes out turning at a very fast rate so that it has own velocity. It can hit the target. Yes. And I tried to buy about 24,000 M16s for my police and military. One congressman in the US or two stood up and said, do not give it to the Philippines, especially to the mayor, because he will use those rifles to kill his own Filipino citizen. And that is really funny. And I would ask US Congress, kindly educate yourself first. You have the CIA. Yeah, they're around. Even here right now, CIA is listening to us. I am sure they're getting the message up there. Kindly be kind to your fellow men. Before you condemn, investigate. And allow us, before you come up with this result, allow us the right to be heard. It is a God-given right to any person. Whether you live in autocracy or tyranny, every person has the right to be heard. And human right. The United States did not send me. They stopped the rifles at the time when the rebellion in Marawi was brewing. I was here, scheduled to have a series of meetings about trade and commerce. But on the day, I just stayed there for 6 hours. And I'm thankful that President Putin came all the way from somewhere to fly just to be in Moscow to talk to him before I took home. Took us about 5 months to quell the rebellion. And it was only when China and Russia gave us the very well-made guns. I tried to buy helicopters. And I was looking around South Korea and Russia and Israel. They said, no, you cannot buy. You buy from us. So Bell Helicopter of Canada offered me 10, but with a condition that I cannot use it against my own citizens. I said, look, stupid. I am buying these helicopters because they are killing the people, the rebels, and my military men, and my police. And you sell me a helicopter with the condition that I cannot place armaments, only for transport of dead soldiers. So, wounded soldiers, and for humanitarian reasons. When as a matter of fact, these rebels are rebelling because they want to oust the government. ISIS is there. We're having a hard time fighting terrorism. They blow churches, so many. They blow military camps. The suicide bombers are not from there, but white-looking. Now, I really don't know their nationality. We do not know because we can only recover bits and pieces of their body.
Mr. President, I'm very sorry. I have a club to be very unpolite. So I'm sorry I'm intervening, but maybe we go ahead and then come back to you.
Yes. Well, yes. Still 1 minute. I will end up by saying that, well, this has been the issue in the Philippines, that they have a president who's a murderer. I assure you. I have a religion, and they say that, well, bishops and all of this, they've been attacking me. And I said, your religion is not. I have my own God. And I'm planning to invite the Russian Orthodox missionaries come to the Philippines so that we can look for a place where we can build the Orthodox Church. It was built many years ago by the Russians. 1922. This was destroyed. It's an old dilapidated.
Please excuse me, Mr. President, this 1 minute is still there.
Yes. I'm now involved in freedom of religion. Well, I must end by this, just abusing the minds of people.
Next thing we'll think
Oh, I
about.
forgot
Okay.
about it. Yes, I'd be happy to respond to it.
Спасибо. А теперь перейдем к...
Can we equal West to the East? No, seriously. No joke. President Duterte, can you actually equal West to the East? And can we talk about sort of a unisex approach, so to say? East and West. This division, is this a thing of the past, or it's a natural division to have West versus East?
There has always been a divide between the East and the West, culturally and financially, except for China, was really doing great all these years with so many dynasties. But the rest of East Asia had so many experiences of colonialism. That is why it's very hard really to connect it. They still harbor the Indonesia went to the Dutch, the Philippines bought to the Spaniards and Americans, and Malaysia to So any attempt that would force or persuade even a nation for them to adopt the Western ways is always suspect. Now that's the problem. So there has to be a more social intercourse, and this should not only be limited to diplomatic levels, but in terms of exchanges among people. And maybe allowing a certain amount of the East Asian to visit other studies, other nations. In terms of loyalty, it's also very hard now to fathom where they are or where the Philippines is. I'm charting a new course, not really separate from America, but more of the colonial vestiges of the practice of the diplomacy. Where we go, right after the independence in 1947, we have always been guided towards what policies. And for the longest time, we never had any concrete relations between Russia and the Eastern Bloc at that time, because they were pictured to be the enemy of democracy. And democracy then, to the Western world, was their monopoly. And that the rest of the world were totalitarian or ruled by despots and tyrants. And that has been the food for thought even among children. There's always the USIS, it's a library, and everybody attended there, and you can see all the propaganda. Maybe the next generation will. I am the last baby of my generation. I was born in 1945. Practically, but still, the practice of the Western ways are still there. But intellectually, maybe educationally, it would take time. It is hard for the Filipinos to understand that there's no such thing as a non-democratic government in the Eastern Europe at that time. It was always an American propaganda against nothing from the West. So it was not only after Berlin was liberated, so to speak, and that there was this exchange of ideas now from Germany. But it's not enough. It's not enough.
Ang Pilipinas ay umani ng mataas na respeto sa Russia dahil sa foreign policy na mayroon si Pangulong Duterte. Kung matatandaan, ang Russia ay nagkumit ng tulong na pagbebentahan nila ang Pilipinas ng mga armas nung panahong umatake ang mga ISIS sa Marawi. At that time kasi ang Amerika ayaw nila tayong pagbenta ng mga armas dahil kesyo may human rights violation daw ang Pangulo dahil sa drug on war. Nagkakagulo na nun sa Marawi. Kaya ang ginawa ng Pangulo sa Russia na lang siya lumapit at hindi naman tayo nabigo roon. Kaya hindi dapat natin iasa na nandyan lagi ang Amerika na tutulong sa atin lalo na sa mga ganyang sitwasyon. Kaya nga maganda na kaibigan natin ang lahat ng bansa. Hindi na kasi ubra na makisali pa ang ating bansa sa mga hidwaan ng mga nagbubungguang bansa. Dahil sa huli, ang importante yung interes pa rin ng ating bansa. Nagustuhan mo ba ang kwentong ito? I-click na ang like button at i-share ang video na to. Mag-iwan na ng komento para sa inyong mga saloobin. Maraming salamat. Hanggang sa muli.